Stranger Things Season 3's biggest mystery can be answered by Dungeons & Dragons. Stranger Things returns this July with a fresh dose of 1980s nostalgia, Lovecraftian nightmares, and the undeniable wholesomeness of Steve Harrington and Dustin Henderson's friendship. Now, we've already scoured the latest trailer for clues and found 14 massive reveals that you can learn all about on Nerdist News, but we still had one burning question about the creepiest new addition to this synth-laden series, and no, I'm not talking about puberty. I'm talking about that nightmare beast we see towards the trailer's end. This fanged, snarling, tentacled murder monster that's seemingly infecting other people in Hawkins for what's sure to be an homage to George Romero's classic, Dawn of the Dead. Now, we tried to solve this mystery the only way we know how, through the power of Dungeons & Dragons. Now, I've been poring over my monster manual, and I'm fairly certain I know which mythical monster is going to be haunting Hawkins this time around. And while this is purely speculatory, if I'm correct, well, that could be considered a spoiler, so if you want to be surprised come July, well, you might want to skedaddle. And just make sure you don't pull a Dustin when you finally do see what happens. This isn't the first time we've turned to D&D to figure out the many mysteries of Stranger Things. Every season's big bad has been inspired by one of the myriad monsters from this classic pen and paper RPG series. All the way back in Season 1, we encountered the fearsome Demogorgon, and Season 2 introduced us to the Mind Flayer. So the question is, which monster are we going to meet in Season 3? Well, I have 3 possible candidates, and each one is more terrifying than the last. Our first suspect is the Otyugh, a gigantic 500-pound dog-like creature with razor-sharp teeth, barbed tentacles, and muscular, tough skin who lives underground. This OG D&D creation is not only a dead ringer for the monster we saw in the trailer, but its monster manual entry gives even further evidence. The Otyugh is capable of limited telepathy, which would potentially allow it to communicate with the Mind Flayer who menaced Eleven and the gang last season. But more importantly, the Otyugh's bite can transmit a disease known as filth fever, and that acts as a poison within the host body, and this could potentially explain that illness we see spreading through Hawkins, afflicting people like Billy, and potentially creating a horde of mini-monsters for the Mind Flayer to command. Now, suspect number 2 is the aptly named Gibbering Mouther. This stomach-churning aberration is a swirling mass of mouths, teeth, and amorphous red appendages, which sounds strikingly similar to that creature we saw in the trailer. Now, given Stranger Things' propensity for embracing eldritch horrors, this bilious blob of mouths, eyes, and anger could serve as a solid basis for this snarling beast. Now, last but not least, we have one of the most iconic D&D creatures of all time, the Tarrasque, or Tarrasque, I don't remember how it's pronounced. Now, this absolute unit of a primordial beast instills fear in all around it, using its claws, spiky horns, tail, and gnashing teeth to turn all those who cross its path into a fine red mist. Now, perhaps the one we saw in the trailer is maybe a baby version of the Tarrasque, and it'll eventually grow into a much more massive size, like we saw Dustin's ill-fated pet do last season. And there you have it, folks, our 3 best guesses for which D&D monster our heroes will fight this season on Stranger Things. Now, none of them are exact matches, but you have to admit, they're a little too close for comfort. But tell me, what do you think? What D&D monster do you think it'll be? What would your IRL D&D class be? Let's discuss. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like and share this video and tag your party members in the comments below. And until the next time that your world comes crashing down after a single question, stay tuned to Nerdist.com.
How many children are you friends with?